Hi there, Alex here at mixinglessons.com. In this video, we're going to talk about the three most common types of signal that you'll come across when you're recording in your home studio. Things like microphones, electroacoustic guitars, and electric pianos all put out different types of signal. And so it's important when you're recording music in your home studio that you connect your instrument or your mic to the correct input on your audio interface. The most common types of signal that you'll come across are mic level signals, instrument level signals, and line level signals. And so we'll talk about what kinds of things produce those types of signals and which inputs you should be using when you're recording. We'll also talk about what you'll need to do if you want to record something, but you don't have the correct input on your audio interface. Before we dive into the video, I've got 3 free guides for you. I've got an EQ cheat sheet, a compression cheat sheet, and a vocal recording guide. And you can get all 3 by heading over to mixinglessons.com/free-downloads. Okay, so the first signal type that we'll talk about is a mic level signal. Now, a mic level signal refers to the kind of signal that would be output by a microphone. Next, you have instrument level. So an instrument level signal refers to the signal that's output by something like an electroacoustic guitar or an electric guitar or an electric bass, something like that. And then lastly, we have line level signals. Now, line level signals actually come in 2 kinds. So there's one which refers to the level of a signal that's put out by something like an MP3 player. Probably more relevant to us in home studios is the kind of line level signal that comes out of something like an electric keyboard or an electric piano, or perhaps something like an outboard processor or a preamp or something like that. So your audio interface is likely to have each of these different input types, and each input is going to expect to receive that kind of signal. So a mic input expects to receive a mic level signal, an instrument input expects to receive an instrument level signal, and a line input expects to receive a line level signal. Now, it's important not to make any assumptions just based on what the inputs on your interface look like. So an XLR input on an audio interface will generally be there to receive a mic level signal, but that's not a hard and fast rule. You can occasionally come across line level XLR inputs. Also, a 1/4-inch jack input is generally what's used for a line level signal, but a 1/4-inch jack input is also what's usually used for an instrument level signal. So you can't always assume. Now, the good news is that audio interfaces generally tend to label their inputs. So an input that expects to receive a mic level signal will be labeled as mic. An input that expects to receive an instrument level signal will be labeled as either instrument, or it might be labeled as high Z or high Z. A line level input should be labeled as line. And if it's not labeled on the interface itself, then it should at least be in the instruction manual for you to double check. Now, what do you do if you have an instrument that's putting out a certain type of signal, but you don't have the corresponding input on your audio interface? Well, the vast majority of audio interfaces have XLR inputs on them that are expecting to receive mic level signals. Now, let's say, for example, you want to connect a keyboard that's putting out a line level signal, but you don't have a line level input on your interface. Or maybe you have line level inputs, but you're already using them for something else. All you have is a spare mic level XLR input. In this instance, what you would need to do is you would need to use a DI box. Now, I did a video on DI boxes a few weeks ago, and I'll put a link to it on screen. But just to briefly recap, what you would do in this instance is you would connect the keyboard to the DI box, and then you connect the DI box to the mic level input. And what that DI box will do is it will convert that line level signal coming out of the keyboard into a mic level low impedance signal, which is what the microphone input on your audio interface is expecting to receive. So I hope that this explains to you what kind of things you can connect to the different inputs on your audio interface. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to go over to mixinglessons.com/free-downloads and get your free EQ cheat sheet, your free compression cheat sheet, and your free vocal recording guide, and I'll see you next time.